British MPs including Zarah, Sultana and Apsana Begum are pressing the Rishi Sunak government on its continued arms sales to Israel, particularly in light of the recent ICJ ruling on allegations of genocide. Sultana questioned why arms supply persists despite the court's decision.
The genocide in Gaza should have been the moment that this government suspended arms sales to Israel and finally called for an immediate end to Israel's bombardment of Gaza. But instead, this government is stopping its funding for the UN aid agency that millions of Palestinians rely on. These recent allegations must be investigated, but this decision collectively punishes the Palestinian people and will lead to more starvation. So in light of the ICJ ruling, I asked the Minister what legal advice has he had which says continuing to arm Israel while stopping funding for Gaza's primary aid agency is consistent with the government's obligation under the Genocide Convention.
While Begum is seeking clarity on the government's adherence to international law and its response to the ICJ's provisional measures regarding potential genocide in Gaza.
And the immediate provision of humanitarian aid and other vital services. And can he confirm whether the UK will now be ending arms sales to Israel due to the risk that they could be used unlawfully to kill women and children?
Additionally, Begum inquired about any further military actions in Yemen since January 11 airstrikes.
Has undertaken any further military action in Yemen since the 11th of January? And if so, can he clarify whether the government's long-term plan includes committing to a sustained military action in one of the poorest countries of the world?
Well, we are careful to ensure that our response to the Houthis on Yemen is proportionate and right. And we are very conscious of the importance of getting food into Yemen to feed people who are starving. And that process is hindered by the grossly irresponsible acts of the Houthi terrorists.
Former Labour UK party leader Jeremy Corbyn has also joined the chorus, raising concerns about the suspension of military arms to Israel.
A few days later, news comes out of the issues facing UNRWA. The UK government, the US government and others then announced they're withdrawing funding from it. Now I understand the British government's payments are not due until April. Presumably the US government has suspended payments immediately. The immediate effect on the most desperate people in the world, that is the million people around Rafah trying to get something to eat, water to drink and medicines to be cured with, are not getting that support they desperately need. Has his government been in touch with the Israeli government to demand that they adhere to the ICJ ruling? And will he, in the light of the ICJ ruling, also tell us that all British military aid to Israel has been suspended until such time as they abide by the ruling?
Many other British MPs also raised their voices for ongoing war in Gaza and demanding a call for ceasefire.
Of ITV News report on footage from Gaza of an unarmed Palestinian man walking under a white flag being shot and killed by the IDF. Prime Minister, such an act constitutes a war crime, does it not?
Yeah. These documents reveal that the Foreign Office had serious concerns about Israel's compliance with international humanitarian law and its ongoing assault on Gaza. This assessment was hidden from Parliament, whilst the Prime Minister boldly stated his confidence in Israel's respect for international law. Since then, the scale of Israel's war crimes in Gaza have been revealed to the world thanks to South Africa's case to the ICJ. Therefore, is it now not the time for the Prime Minister to admit that he has the blood of thousands of innocent people on his hands, and for him to commit to demanding an immediate ceasefire and an ending of UK's arms trade with Israel?